Group Captain Vijay Kumar.
How is the weather there? I think things are not that bad in Odisha as it is in Chennai.
Yes, actually, I have shifted from Odisha to Delhi. For the next few weeks, I will be in Delhi, and then I will be taking off for USA in the first week of July. So today I'm speaking to you from Delhi.
Oh, lovely. The number of flights have already commenced from different part of the country to USA now. I think they're augmenting the number of flights to shift back all the US citizens and people who are H1B1 visa holders and all that. So
that's right. The country is slowly limping back.
They need all of them actually. Back, and our people need go back to USA for their living actually. So
very correct. The world has to move on.
If you permit me, Swamiji, I think still 3-4 minutes to go.
I'll
brief about some MMA events, what's happening.
You go ahead. I will just switch on my do not disturb so that nobody.
No, not all, Swamiji. You can be there. Absolutely fine. It's
yeah.
Yes,
go ahead.
Sir, social media and website live streaming started, sir.
Okay, thank you. Very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, very warm welcome to another edition of our live webinar. You all so much used to the live webinars of MMA, which has become so popular. And the popularity, the grown not only by the number of viewers who are watching this program, the popularity also indication that number of international speakers who accept our invitation to speak. I think we already finalized the program almost till August with various speakers, not only from India, around the world. The number of people going to be talking to you, and not only on different subjects, which will be of a lot of interest to you. Now, just quickly update you if you by any chance missed the inbox, some of the events, what is happening, not to be missed even, which is there today, which I'll come back to in next 2-3 minutes. What's happening tomorrow, Saturday 30th, what is high performance culture and how do you drive it as a leader at these times of rapid change? And we have Tiger Tyagarajan. Tiger Tyagarajan is Chief Executive Officer of Genpact from USA. It employs more than 1 lakh people, and they serve more than 300 companies and Fortune 500 companies. And Tiger Tyagarajan, one of the finest speaker, and we are doing this under the Ponds Veteran Fragrance of Business series. Please don't miss it tomorrow evening at 6 o'clock to listen to Tiger Tyagarajan on another important subject. Then on 17th of May, 17th of June, Wednesday, another outstanding speaker, Jasprit Bindra is a founder of Digital Matters, digital transformation leader, one of the best brain in digital transformation. And he will be talking to another very interesting subject, the immune organizations. Immune organizations, we are all finding a lot of vaccine to really fight COVID. He is now suggesting vaccine, how to put your digital perspective, the right perspective in your work environment. And he has written a recent book on immune organizations, and this is what you're going to be discussing. Mr. Suresh Raman, who is head of TC, will be joining us. The discussion is happening at 6 p.m. on Wednesday 17th. Then on the 18th of this month at 6 o'clock in the evening, this is again a wonderful event, not to be missed even by each one of you, Women in Politics. We are trying to bring in, there's so much of research done. We are talking so much about women in corporate world, breaking the glass ceiling, and also women employment, number of other areas, including space, including defense. But women in politics not really discussed. Why the women are not coming forward to politics? Is it because the financial constraint they have? Is it because of women not interested in politics? But there is also a number of reservations which has been put in Parliament, which are fighting out for the last 60 years, but nothing has happened. Though we done some reservation in Panchayat Raj system, which has not really grown. So we got some 4 outstanding panelists to come and discuss this, women in politics. We got Khushbu Sundar, you all know, our spokesperson for Indian National Congress and a famous Tamil actor. And Nupur Sharma, you see her very often in television, national spokesperson for Bharatiya Janata Party. Then Rahina Hamid, she is also elected member of London City Corporation, and she's going to tell what interested her to join politics in the UK. Then to moderate this session, we also invited a couple of more MPs and the confirmations awaited. And Lakshmi Ramakrishnan, actor, film actor, activist, will be in conversation with this outstanding personalities on women in politics. Please not to miss it. This is happening on Thursday, 18th at the evening 6 o'clock. Then on 20th Saturday, we have again a very interesting event by survival and recovery from pandemic through Industry 4.0. Again, outstanding international speaker, Chandramouli, former managing director of Heket Machine Tools, one of the international company. He'll be talking to us on this. Then on Thursday, 23rd, again, outstanding event. This is again a unique out-of-box event by MMA. Parliamentary democracy in COVID times. Most of the countries, the parliaments are functioning either online or discharging their duties. But Indian parliaments at the moment, they are discussing how to get the parliament going because of various constraints. But I know there is no secrecy involved in parliamentary functioning because all the parliamentary functions are webcast live and we all see them on television. Now, what is it required? What is it lacking? Is there any amendment to the rules and procedures are required? Again, we have got some 4 outstanding thought leaders will be discussing this. And we got Mr. N.K. Premachandran. He is a member of Parliament Lok Sabha from Kollam constituency, Kerala. Then Naresh Gujaral, again member of Parliament Rajya Sabha. Then Mr. G. Ramesh, professor of public policy, Indian Institute of Management, Bangalore. Then Mr. Madhavan, co-founder and the president of PRS Research, he will be moderating. Madhavan is the one who does a lot of research on the functioning of Parliament, not only functioning of Parliament, in respect of each individual members of Parliament, what is their output, how many meetings they attended, how many questions they asked. He's one of the research team which is them. So he is going to be moderating and he's going to be setting the contest. So not to be missed event again on the 23rd. 24th, again, leadership and excellence. We have Mr. Manu Vora from Chicago. He'll be talking to us. On 27th, last one for this month, which I'll stop it. We'll come to the program. We all joined us today because I'm giving a lot of allowance to the people who are going to join. It's reached up to 75. I want to reach to 100 my full house. It'll take another minute now. On the 27th, we have another interesting event, financial planning and management in COVID times. Again, outstanding thought leader speaker, Mr. Prasad. He is a former group CEO of CAMS Limited. But he's going to be talking to us what's happening in financial today in the investment area, why the direct foreign investment is coming in a big way, why they're investing long-term investment, what is the psyche of Indian investors in terms of investing when the chips are down, what is it going, why the companies are buying back their shares, is it the right decision to do? He's going to be questioning, number of questions which are not being questioned at the moment. So I welcome you to come and watch this. This is all happening till the month of June. We also program lots of events for you in June and July. Besides that, I want to quickly tell you, we have started some excellent initiative. One is the online MMA student initiative. We are getting the student members on online. We already have almost 50 student volunteers who have joined us as a management trainee. And our endeavor is to make students get used to that working from environment. Not necessarily they need to be supervised. They're all working from home. I think my team, what we are working with us at the moment as a management trainees, are doing some fantastic job to propagate the management movement, what MMA is looking for. And we also call upon large number of students to join us as one of the student initiative members. You will get immensely benefit. All these benefits we are offering to you. You know what, Samo? It's just real steel. That's 500 rupees per year. And we are offering some 10 workshop, number of events, and you can keep in touch with MMA. They'll be able to tell you. Coming to today's topic, which is very dear to my heart, and Swami Mukundananda ji, if you go to speak, I think I will walk miles to go and listen to him. And some of us had the privilege of listening to him when he came to Chennai to address during our MMA annual convention. Since then, I've been keeping a close track of Swamiji's his articles, his books, his talks. So some of his articles, what he written, I know maybe you were also read in Times of India and other leading newspapers. It's really thought-provoking, mind-boggling. That's the time I requested Swamiji, why do you please come and speak to our members of MMA? Because this is the time. Difficult situation requires difficult solutions. This is the time Swamiji speaking something on spirituality and the better manager. I think very apt subject today. I'm quite sure today we have a large number of viewers who are young managers, and the managers level only be an issue. The issue is how to make them accountable, take responsibility. I know large number of senior leaders, when they discuss in the committee meeting what should be done for the manager level program, they always say a concern in respect of middle level managers, where how to make them accountable, how do we make them as a team man, how to make them get involved in all the activities of things, how to bring in the sense of ownership in them. This is some of the things we discussed, and also how to make a plan for succession planning in that middle level manager, so that they grow and go up the service, and what is going to be happening by the movement to any vacuum is going to be occurring. There's quite a number of things, and if a person is spiritually very good, he'll be a very good manager. I'm a strong believer in that, because I also wanted today, many of us wanted a very high performance manager. That is what is the country, and that's what the corporates are looking for. And I also then, what is spiritual? Spiritual means you all go to religious. No, spiritual is also divine, heavenly, and also pious. If you get all these habits in you, you're going to be a great individual actually. Then with this, you can enhance your capability to be a great manager. You are going to be doing very well. To talk more on this subject, we have an outstanding personality who is going to be there. Let me have the privilege of introducing Swamiji and going to be talking to us, grow spiritually to be a better manager. Let me have the privilege of introducing the Swamiji. Swami Mukundananda is a world-renowned teacher of spirituality, yoga, and meditation. He's an international authority on mind management. He did his graduation from IIT Madras, IIT Delhi, and has done his master MBA from IIM Calcutta, and also Bhakti Yog Saint. Swamiji formulated Jagadguru Kriopaluji Yog. It's a non-profit organization which offers a unique yogic system, JK Yog, also known as yoga for the body, mind, and soul. For more than a quarter century, Swamiji has been traveling around the world, awakening thousands and thousands of people and minds, spreading the profound knowledge of the Vedas. Today, we have the privilege of going to be listening to him. Swamiji's lectures are humorous, his arguments are logical and well laid out, and most of all, his advice is practical. That's why he has been invited for lectures by many Fortune 500 companies in US, like Google, Intel, many more, and also all the universities around the world, including Stanford and Yale, many more. Swamiji has authored a book like, I read this book. It's a must-read book for each one of you. 7 Mindsets for Success and Happiness and Fulfillment, and also written on Bhagavad Gita, the Song of God, Art of Mind Management, and many more. I'm quite sure those who are joined us to have a feast of a time. Let me also welcome all those viewers joined us live on Zoom, live on YouTube, live on Facebook, and live on our live webinar, what is being done MMA. As usual, may I request all people who are watching live on Zoom, please send your questions to the chat box. I also request you all to put your thing mute, though we are centrally got a muting system. Sometimes technology do permit you to unlock and do. Please don't do. You be in mute so that others don't get disturbed. The excellent talk what Swamiji is going to share with us. And all the viewers watching live on YouTube, Facebook, and also webinar, there's a band which is, the numbers are flashed there. Please send your questions through WhatsApp or SMS to that number. The Swamiji has kindly agreed to answer all your questions today. Thank you so much. Once again, very warm welcome to Swamiji. It's a great honor and privilege to have you with us today. Over to you, Swamiji, to looking forward to hearing your talk on for the young managers today on spiritual. Over to Swamiji. Unmute.
Namaste. Namaste, Group Captain Vijay Kumar. Thank you for inviting me to address the members of the Madras Management Association. It has been my pleasure to interact with you all in the past, and I look forward to today's address as well. Let me see how, if the operator can get my image on the screen, it will be easier for me. Swami Mukundananda video. Swami Mukundananda video. Hello. Just ensure that you can get my video on the screen and I'll start speaking.
Yes, sir. Your video is your screen, sir.
Not able to see it.
Swamiji, your video is displayed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it?
Sheikh, can you play the video?
No, my video is not coming on the display.
Yes, displayed. Your video is displayed, sir.
I'm watching you, Swamiji.
Okay, great.
We are clear. You are strength on sound and you're very clear. Yeah.
Perfect. Prathamam Jagadgurum Vande Shri Krishnam Tadanantaram Guru Papatmanam Trata Shri Krishnas Twamalatmanam Yo Brahmanam Vidadhati Purvam Yo Vai Vedanscha Prahinoti Tasmai Tagvam Ha Devamatma Buddhi Prakasham Mumukshur Vai Sharanamaham Prapadye. divine souls, enthusiasts, practitioners, lovers of the science of management. We Indians are proud of one of us, Sundar Pichai, who is today heading one of the biggest technology companies of the world, which we all know, Google. Here is a wonderful story that he shared. He related he was sitting once in a restaurant, and on the next table were a group of old ladies and old gentlemen sitting, when all of a sudden a huge cockroach took flight and landed on the dress of one of the ladies. Now all hell broke loose. She screamed, she jumped up, and she tried to push the cockroach off from her dress while it was shaking its whiskers. Finally, the cockroach was able to be pushed off, but it landed on another lady. It was now her turn to start screaming and yelling and jumping. And then the cockroach started playing relay. It went to the next gentleman. So there was complete chaos in the restaurant because of that one big cockroach. Seeing that, a waiter arrived on the scene. And the cockroach decided that this will be my next landing place. It took flight and landed on the waiter's dress. But the waiter's behavior was much different. He froze, remained still, and then when the cockroach had settled down, with a napkin, he grabbed it, took it out, and threw it away. This got Sundar Pichai to start thinking that what was the cause of all the emotional disturbance in the people sitting there. Apparently, it was the cockroach. But if that was the case, then this waiter should also have been disturbed by it. How come the waiter was so equipoised and controlled? He came to the conclusion that the difference was within. While everybody else had reacted to the situation, the waiter had been proactive. There was a huge difference which made Sundar Pichai think, I must practice to be proactive in my life. What is the difference between the two? There are always problems that we have to face in life. How do we respond to them makes the whole difference. There are those who focus on the problem and keep rotating the problem in their mind. They are problem oriented, but this does not solve it. This only leads to disturbance and emotional chaos, as we saw in the case of the cockroach theory. Converse of this is to be proactive. That means you realize there is a problem, but you focus on the solution. Now, when you focus on the solution, there's a good chance the problem gets solved. A simple art of how to live. As somebody said, "Oh Lord, give me the strength to change the things that I cannot, that I can. Give me the forbearance to tolerate the things that I cannot change. And give me the wisdom to know the difference." Such a simple and easy approach. So this attitude we bear is where spirituality comes in. This world is veritably the university of hard knocks. And God does not guarantee you an easy life. In fact, it's in the worst situation that the Bhagavad Gita is spoken. The setting of the Bhagavad Gita was the battleground of Kurukshetra. Now, why did Lord Krishna choose that setting to deliver his divine message? Not because Arjun needed it. Arjun was a liberated soul. His ignorance was only a leela, an act put on, so that the Lord could enlighten him with some wisdom that would be helpful for future generations. In other words, all of us. And through that setting, the Lord conveyed to us that look, difficulties do arise, hardships do come your way. They don't come without a purpose because you are in the crucible of purification. And all this is meant for your spiritual evolution and growth. So the Lord says, I don't guarantee you external peace. But if you listen to me, you can achieve internal peace. And that requires, first of all, receiving divine knowledge. Secondly, implementing it in our lives and bringing our mind and intellect to such a state where nothing can disturb us. Once we have got that inner peace, it is the peace that surpasseth all understanding. In other words, it is independent of the externals, and nobody can snatch it away from you. It is all a matter of what attitude you keep. Group Captain Vijay Kumar was referring to my recent book on mindsets. The mindset you harbor makes such a difference to your experience of happiness or distress. I am reminded of the flood that happened in the Uttaranchal a few years ago. You may have heard, remember it, it was a major catastrophe, maybe 8, 9 years ago. Now, many houses were wiped away. Some villages were wiped away. Various TV channels had gone to cover that disaster. I was watching one channel as it was interviewing people while they were sharing their sob stories. It was heart-rending. Someone had lost a home, someone had lost a family member, and suddenly the camera turned to an old lady. The interviewer said that, "What is your misery?" The lady said, "I am thanking God for his grace." And the interviewer said, "What? You have not had any disaster in your family or home?" The lady said, "My home has been washed away." The interviewer was shocked. "Your home has been washed away, and you are still at peace and thanking God." The lady said, "It could have been worse than this. I am thankful my husband is alive. My children are still with me. They were irreplaceable. If they had died, there would have been no substitute. What is it to a home? We will build it up again." What distinguished this lady was her attitude, her mindset. Spirituality teaches us how to master our mind and thereby our mind sets. Lord Krishna says, if you have read the Bhagavad Gita, Arjun started off with his sob story. This situation is so terrible and so awful, and I am confused. The great Gandiv Dhari, the wielder of the Gandiv, Arjun, he is confessing. Gandivam sransate hastat tvachaiva paridahyate nacha shaknomyavasthatum brahmati vacha me mana evam muktvarjuna sankhe ratho pasta upavishat visrijyam sasharanchapam shoka samvighna manasa. Oh Shri Krishna, my mouth is drying up. My skin is burning, my knees are trembling, and my heart is full of fear. Now, when Lord Krishna started his lecture to Arjun, the first verse was absolutely mind-blowing. Just think about it. He says to Arjun, Ashocyananvashocastvam pragyavadanscha bhasate gatasuna gatasunscha nanushochanti pandita. Arjun had said in so many ways how distraughtful the situation was. And Lord Krishna says, Arjun, while apparently speaking words of wisdom, you are behaving like a fool. You are lamenting for that what is not worthy of lamentation. Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor for the dead. In other words, the entire concept of lamentation has been blown away. Lord Krishna doesn't say that difficulties will not come. He doesn't even say that you don't take action. In fact, he's dissuading Arjun from that path. Do take action. But he is telling Arjun to be proactive. Do what is in your hands. Do your best and leave to God all the rest. This art of managing our inner self is what spirituality is all about. Now, as members of the Madras Management Association, which is the foremost management association of our country, and I am a great admirer of how your association is promoting the cause of management. And I have repeatedly expressed my appreciation to Group Captain Vijay Kumar for the way he keeps on cultivating and nurturing the knowledge of management to the best opportunity that he gets. On the other hand, I am a spiritual teacher. Now, apparently, these are two completely different fields. Management talks about the temporal world, the things, material resources of this world. The purpose of the science and practice of management is the managing of resources, people, finances, machines, market environments, information. And spirituality is about the non-tangible. It is about the subtle. It is about our inner self. So many people feel that spirituality doesn't seem to have any significance in the science of management. Unfortunately, that is the Western orientation of management science that we all have learned in business schools. Kaka Hatrasi, a famous Hindi humor poet. He wrote hilarious poetry. Now, once he went for an international conference, and in the night time, they would have a dinner. At dinner time, one Frenchman would say to him, "Bon appetit." So Kaka Hatrasi would think he's telling me his name. Kaka Hatrasi would say, "Kaka Hatrasi." This went on for 3 days. Every night, the Frenchman would say, "Bon appetit." Kaka Hatrasi would say, "Kaka Hatrasi." So Kaka Hatrasi decided to consult somebody and say that why is it that he introduces his name to me every day and says, "Bon appetit." That gentleman knew a little bit of French. And he said, "Look, he is not introducing his name. Bon appetit is French for enjoy your meal." So the next time they sat together for dinner, they both came, accosted each other. Now Kaka Hatrasi was prepared and he spoke first. "Bon appetit." The Frenchman said, "Kaka Hatrasi." You see, we people, we start copying the others without realizing what is it that we have good in ourselves. Similarly, Western management science is perfect and wonderful in so many ways, but we have thousands of years of Indian heritage by virtue of which we have a deeply spiritual psyche. Now, that is what creates the discord. Somebody who has grown up and been raised with spiritual values and religious beliefs. Finally, after doing the MBA, goes into the corporate world and discovers that what I am doing here doesn't seem to tie up with the values with which I was brought up. Because management science does not have values, it is soulless. Just like the economic development that took place in Chennai over the last 50 years. Now, Chennai has got one of the fastest growing economies worldwide. And today there are over 12 $1 billion companies and tens of thousands of lucrative IT jobs, so many high-rise apartments. And yet last year, Chennai suffered from the worst water shortage. What was the problem? Although the development was stupendous, it was not sustainable development. What is sustainable development? Where we develop the resources we have for our utilization with a view to allowing future generations also to engage in development for their comfort. Now, the mad economic growth did not pay attention to the basic environmental constraints and necessities. In the same way, people have this feeling when they enter corporates that this management system is soulless, because from the Western viewpoint, the goal of a corporation is to offer the worker more salary so that the worker works harder to produce more or sell more or create more and thereby enhance the profits of the corporation. That is the bottom line. And if that doesn't happen, then the worker is dismissed. So the worker becomes a commodity which can be purchased and dismissed. This lack of harmony between our own values and the values that we see in the corporation creates the dissonance. And that dissonance is what made me take sannyas 36 years ago. I was working in a multinational corporation, and I decided that my goal is not to increase the profits of the shareholders of this company. My life was meant for something else. And hence I took sannyas. However, that is not what I am teaching to you today. I am going to explain to you how spirituality can help you find meaning and purpose in the very work that you do. And that is how spirituality and management can be tied together. The Mundaka Upanishad states, Dve vidye veditavye parachaiva paracha tatra pararig vedo yajurveda samaveda atharvangiras itihas purana shiksha kalpo vyakaran niruktam chando jyotishamiti parayaya tadakshar madhigamyate. It states, look, there are two sciences you will need in your life. The first is material science, which includes management, which includes the physical sciences. And the second is spiritual science. Material science will help you understand the external nature and to harness its forces for your comfort and for your well-being. It's essential. And spiritual science will help you understand your inner nature, the mind and the intellect. And to control these, to manifest the inner divinity of your soul. So we don't need to contradict these two. You will need to harmonize these two. Hence, the famous verse of the Ishopanishad of the Yajurveda states, Andham tamah pravishanti ye vidyamupasate tato bhuya ivate tamo yau vidyaya gwamratah. So astonishing. This mantra says, those who only cultivate material science will achieve darkness because they will not develop the inner virtues. But those who only cultivate spiritual science will go to even greater darkness because they will not be able to tend to their body. And if you do not take care of your body, how will you practice spirituality? So there is no need to say, do I believe in science or do I believe in religion? This is a Western concept. The Vedas say believe in both. Dve vidye. Utilize both. Harmonize them to reach your goal. Material science for the external, spiritual science for the internal. When we do that, we realize that spirituality adds meaning and purpose to our life. Arjuna, when he understood that he is not the body, but the soul, he said to Lord Krishna that in that case, why should I do this external duty? Why don't I run off into the jungle and become a sannyasi? Lord Krishna, he explained to Arjuna that, look, Arjuna, everybody is moved by their own inner natures. By nature, you are a kshatriya, an administrator of people. It is not your nature to be a sannyasi, renunciant. Now, if you just go and run off into the jungle, what will happen? You will gather the tribals there and become their king. Your nature will not leave. That is why it is better to work in accordance with your instincts. So carry on doing the duty that you have, but change your consciousness and you will reach the state of Karma Yoga. So this concept is very unique to our Indian tradition of Karma Yoga. How you transform your work into a yoga, into a way for worshipping the Lord Himself. In other words, we go to the temple, we go to the church, to the masjid, we serve the Lord, we pray to Him, and when you come out, now what? Now look on the whole world as the temple of God and do every work as a service to God. So there are those who practice spirituality in the forest, and there are those who practice spirituality in today's corporate houses as well, as a means of spiritual elevation. But the question still remains that Swamiji, my company, I don't see what good is it doing to the public, and the values I cherished and nurtured while growing up seem to be in dissonance with this economic extraction oriented approach of the corporate house. Well, again, spirituality can transform your perspective, the perspective of the corporation, and the perspective of all the employees within. This moment we become spiritual, we learn that the goal of life is not to enjoy my senses, but to serve. This transforms us from being self-oriented, being self-centered, to becoming service-oriented. And the moment we become service-oriented, everything changes. The purpose of the corporation is to earn profits. So how do you earn money? It is not that you extract the maximum you can from your customers. That is a short-sighted approach. You try it once and the next time the customer will have run away. The long-term approach is this: add value. 2 words: add value. Your customers have needs. As a corporation, you are trying to fulfill their needs. If you add tremendous value to your customers, they will definitely return for more next time and be willing to pay more as well. And that is why the approach of any corporation should always be how to add tremendous value. And the profits will definitely come. That same approach applies to every employee in the corporation. One approach is, it's high time I got a raise. This person is getting more salary than I am getting. That's one perspective. The other perspective is, how can I contribute more in my job? I was reading a survey conducted by some personnel managers. They surveyed a huge number of employees and they classified them. Now, before the promotion itself, they would interview them and allow them to speak freely, to discover their attitudes. And they were able to classify people into two groups. One, whose concern was, how am I doing? And how can I do better? How can I contribute better? The second, what are the perks that I am receiving? And when will I get more perks? When will that decision be taken? Is there any chance that I can get to the next post now? In other words, some people's attitude was, what is in it for me? And the attitude of the others was, how can I contribute more? And when these personal managers studied over the next 3 years, they discovered that invariably 5 out of 6 times the promotions were given to the group that was focused on contributing. So unless you are working for a charitable organization, the corporation